Hey folks, welcome to another special edition.
Yeah, we're doing a trilogy of tasting.
Oh, a trilogy of tasting, special edition, 3-part series.
Right, this is going to coincide
Brothers
with
Dempsey.
the latest Lord of the Rings trilogy. Of course, is the story of the Hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
And the last movie is, in theaters, I think, still. If you
Classic.
haven't seen them.
The classic Tolkien
You
tale.
can still catch the last one, the Battle of the Five Armies, if you want. But I'm not sure how many more chances you are going to get to drink these.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they're going to be pretty popular. Just the subject matter alone,
Yeah.
it's something pretty hot.
'Cause even people that aren't beer drinkers might say, "Oh, Hobbit, cool, check that out. I get that for somebody." You know what I mean?
Right.
Just because
So
it says
now
Hobbit on it. So
appealing to the taste of people outside, maybe the other craft scene.
I didn't even think I knew these were coming out, but I didn't think the chances of getting them here on the East Coast were even going to be that great. Because the brewery's out of Olympia, Washington. They're out in on the West Coast,
Right.
And I didn't think it's a Hollywood thing, obviously. But the Hobbit's everywhere, so I guess they must have really made a lot of this. I don't know what the production was on it, but
Right, everything's legit. I mean, they're at Moonlight Cinema. Everybody, whatever pictures is
I think this was Warner this time.
Warner. Yeah, it's Warner and somebody.
Death Link or somebody else too. A bunch of different
Girl.
companies.
Yeah,
I
MGM
know New Line
comes
Cinema.
up.
Well, it's a Time Warner
It's
company.
New Line, yeah, they're
New Line
all.
Cinema. Yeah.
Well, we know the story of that when Peter Jackson first pitched the Lord of the Rings series and
Trying
trying to get more than one movie made. And a lot of people were saying, why the hell do you have 3 movies for The Hobbit? It was the shortest book.
Yeah.
But you know what? Make as many movies about this subject matter as possible.
As long as they're
in my
good.
opinion.
I'm not a
I
huge.
love 'em.
I read The Hobbit, and I don't think I read much of the lore. I may have. I read a lot, like way back when. And when the movies came out, I really didn't get into them. I haven't seen any of the Hobbit movies yet. Believe it or not, I have not seen the Hobbit movies. But that's okay. My specialty's beer.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not here reviewing the
I'm not
movie.
critiquing the movie or
Right.
the books or anything.
Peter
in that
Jackson's
sense.
adaptation, though. Don't get me started on Peter Jackson. I
Yeah.
could go to New Zealand on you again, but none of you guys want to do that.
Do we want to go back to New Zealand, folks?
No.
I mean, not today.
All right, so we'll talk about the beers. Obviously, three beers. The weird thing is, I'll say off the bat, is that there isn't a beer for each part of the trilogy, though. I think there's 2 beers with the same part, and then 1 beer with a different bright. Isn't it?
Yeah, I noticed that they right underneath movie title. This one
Yeah.
is the
Unexpected
Journey, which coincides with being the first release
one,
of the
right.
series. And this is the tale of Gollum. They have, they present you a little story about him, and I mean, you really should know all this shit. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of.
But the other 2 are the Desolation of Smog, right?
The other 2 say Desolation and Smog, so the third
Now,
beer I would expect to
yeah.
see the Battle of the Armies.
It
but-
did say it was going to come out to coincide with the release of the movie, so maybe they didn't want to come out with. But do you think they would come out with a beer to do that? You know what I mean?
think they messed up.
Yeah, this came out on December. What was the movie? December 6th, 17th. I think the movie was coming out.
Yeah,
From what I
I think
remember. So, yeah, but that's all. That's the extent I know about the movie. The brewery, real quick. We'll talk about the brewery. This is a Fishtail Ale, and it's actually Fish Brewery in Olympia, Washington. And when you see beers like this,
Back to Olympia.
Go
Go
to.
wearing the shirt tonight.
whenever I see a beer like this, we saw the Lord of the Rings Omegon, which is the Omegon is a pretty well known brewery, and the craft heads know a lot about Omegon.
And one that we didn't have a fear of getting because they're so close to us.
Yeah,
so
they're
we're
New
in like
York,
Philly, they're
yeah.
in New York, so we're like, oh, Game of Thrones, we get those beers.
I never thought that, I know, it's like Fish Brewing, like, this is going to be crap, like, who are these guys? But I did a little research on Fish Brewing, and they do have one of the top-rated barley wine beers in the world. It's like a 99 on Beer Advocate, or Rate Beer, I think it is. It's a 99 out of 100, so... they make some pretty cool beers, and they're another aquatic theme. They have something called Real Ales, R-E-E-L, and it's all like fish. There's something called a monkfish, something or other, and so kind of like Ballast Point with the sculpins and the that kind of stuff. But
sometimes you have to do a little research and get some context clues about what they make that people are liking. And then when you see a brewery like that, and you're thinking, okay, barley wines are good at that. You see the alcohol content of the series, and it's like, whoa, these guys are probably,
heavy beer makers
into making some heavy alcoholic beer, and they seem to be pretty successful with it. So that kind of gives you a sense of, it should be pretty good.
None of these beers are light, so it's not like they stuck a Hobbit sticker on there and said, "Here's Bud Light, 4% with a Hobbit with a picture of Gollum on there." You know what I mean?
These all seem to be uniquely brewed and crafted.
Legitimate beer styles. This one is a well, actually, I don't know how legitimate this is, but this is all right. So the first one is Gollum Precious Pils, which is kind of, honestly, it's kind of a corny kind of name. I mean, Precious Pils. Like,
here's this Precious right here.
Yeah, they couldn't resist throwing Precious in there. But it's a Pilsner, and it's a double. It's an Imperial Pilsner, which is kind of weird. It's 9% on here. I thought online it said 8.5, but it's somewhere probably between in the 9-point range, which is a high alcohol beer again. So you guys aren't messing around with whiskey style beers. But this is a Pilsner. I don't think I've ever had an Imperial Pilsner.
Never even heard of one.
I don't know who even makes them. There are some if you go on certain sites and look at different beers and stuff like that, you can find them. But it should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you that just maybe see or follow, maybe you've seen some Imperials and you're not even exactly sure what that means, or you're looking around. It may not come off as odd to you, but for beer drinkers like ourselves, a double Pilsner is really a little perplexing and confusing.
Yeah, because Pilsner's usually light and crisp.
You would even do it.
Yeah, Pilsner's generally to me are like a late spring, early summer kind of beer fare, like a real refreshing, it's German style light, not a Kolsch, but like a Pilsner. It's just, a light.
It's like, I think this, is this going to be like a...
I'll tell you what, the smell on it is dynamite, though. It smells like a nice ale.
It's going to be like a natty ice or something. That's what I'm thinking about high alcohol Pilsners, and all I can think about is Keystone Ice and...
Yeah, really, natty daddy.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
natty
going to
daddy.
taste like a really high alcohol canned beer.
I'll tell you one thing I love about this beer right off the pour.
That are brewed in the traditional
Dude, look at the gold
or lager styles.
This is like liquid gold coming out of this thing, though, which is really nice. I mean, look at it coming out. It's really, really nice gold.
It's
and obviously they want to make it gold, ring and all that kind of stuff. And
this
is a precious pour here. This is Steve's precious pour. Oh God. Oh, I'm just spilling it everywhere. I've had 10 beers. I think that's pretty good. Nice amount of head. Yeah, I wasn't sure what it was going to smell like originally, but I'll tell you what,
there's something going on. It's not a stale.
Not super hoppy floral, but a nice, rich. It's a very rich smelling beer. That could be the alcohol coming through. Who knows? It's time for the frothy mustache shot. This kid's really growing a beard. Speaking of hobbits, this guy.
This is really good.
Wow. Tasty. Rich, deep, hearty. It's a hearty brew. Very hearty brew.
It's
He's speechless. Doesn't taste much like a... I mean, it's a little Pilsner-y, but it's definitely more like
there's more there. I'm trying to figure out what's going on besides just the extra dose of Pilsner. Because in my mind, I'm thinking like that's just more blandness.
It reminds me almost like a real malty good IPA, and not quite like a double IPA. It doesn't have the pininess of it and that crazy bite, but it almost has that
crisp.
It almost has it's very crisp, and it almost has like a double IPA feel, that mellowness that you like out of like a
one that backs away. This doesn't like hit you up front hop.
No.
But the ones that do are the ones that kind of back away, if you know what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The receding, flavor that you get from the aftertaste, and whether it really sticks and sometimes can be a little too much.
This is
versus the ones that release cleanly.
Yeah.
This one releases kind of a medium, middle of the road. It's something that lingers, but the fact that there's any lingering taste in the Pilsner is pretty.
You can't see it in the other light, but it's very gold. I mean, look at all the light there. You can really see how gold that is. Nice color, nice aroma, nice head. I mean, it's got a nice frothy head. It's not like it's kind of sticky.
Low activation.
Yeah, obviously not gonna be crazy carbonation on this thing. It's just a good mellow, a woody, kind of earthy kind of Pilsner. I think maybe that's what Not super alcohol. It's nice. I don't feel like I'm drinking a 9% beer.
Yeah, if you were going to Mordor, I would pack one of these. I think it's going to help in the beginning of the journey for sure.
I think that's what they're talking. There's people joking about the other one from the Orc Chieftain, and there's a couple others. The stout too coming up too, but joking about like, hey, maybe this is what this guy would drink out in the battlefield or drink at the tavern. But I think they did try to make an effort to make it kind of like meaty, kind of like a medieval style beverage. You're not gonna, what I mean. I don't want to drink flowers and rose petals and crap in this beer. I want something that's going to be a stick to your ribs kind of beer. You know what I mean? Because that's the subject matter, right?
And I hope that in creating the series, they also, had thoughts of, making it a journey, right? Like crafting these beers and it being a journey of one beer to the next beer to the next beer.
A journey of tasting.
We're going to go on that journey. We're taking you along with us here.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's people, I mean, now they know this craft beer craze is like through the roof. And people are doing tastings and stuff like that. There's probably 1 million people. Maybe not 1 million. There's probably hundreds of thousands of guys like us right now. Maybe not broadcasting, but they're doing a tasting and they're doing, they're going to, let's do the Hobbit beers, let's do it. We weren't going to drink one and not drink them all in one day. There's no way. You know what I mean? You're going to do them in a row.
Right, right. It's like, you're going to watch it on TNT or you're going to put it on, the DVD they got.
Yeah. I like the triple. Triple's cool. I'm glad they don't have one Hobbit beer.
Maybe even have Blu-rays. I don't know.
Blu-rays.
VHS. Whatever format. You sit there and watch the commercials or you get down to business.
This is good, though. I don't know that I would say it's excellent, only because, I think what I like about this beer is there's not an overwhelming taste, but then it's kind of like, where does that taste leave you? Where is the taste? What makes this really outstanding compared to anything else that I've had to drink?
Nothing really.
Nothing really crazy. I can't say, wow, this is, really, different and amazing. It's a good beer. It really is.
It's a high alcohol content beer that doesn't taste like that canned swill that you're used to finding.
It really does have a nice hop and malt balance, though. It really does. I'm getting some malt there and I'm getting some hop there, but the hops are really... I think these Cascades on here, what kind of hops are on this? I don't even know.
I don't think they divulge the ingredients.
No, they just like everything else, it talks about, unaware of the true nature of this ring, Gollum knows only is more precious to him than life itself. Once a hobbit named Smeagol, Gollum's body and soul had been poisoned by the power of a small plain gold ring that he's kept hidden deep in a dark cavern within the misty mountains.
We have one.
Yeah, so.
The one. Yeah.
What's this say?
Kind of like Gollum's story itself.
There's some sort of scripture on there. I'm not really sure what that is.
It's some sort of Elvish, but I can't seem to read it.
This is cool here, though. This is my favorite part of the whole bottle, honestly, is that they have them walking on the UPC. See all the figures on there?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I saw that before. I think that was kind of neat. Maybe we get a really close-in shot. I'll see if I can...
See if that works for you.
I don't know how that looks. I don't have my mirror here to see exactly, but on the UPC here, you can see all the guys walking up the trail. I guess that's Gandalf leading them, right? Looks like Gandalf at the top there.
Yeah, he's leading the way.
So,
in good hands.
So that's kind of neat, But obviously, this is something they put some time and effort into. They didn't just, they didn't just mass produce it. I think they wanted to make it a beer that's worthwhile. That's in there with some of the craft beers.
This is kind of what I expected, but it exceeded my flavor expectations just a touch. Just because I thought, how can you make a hearty Pilsner? But I'm so used to, the Pilsners of our time.
And you know what? It is refreshing.
The parlance of our times. Yeah.
It's a refreshing, heavy Pilsner beer. And that's, you can't say you can really make that,
No, this is a great,
it does.
Like a picnic beer.
It reminds me of a few. I'm really trying to bring in other different beer companies and stuff like that. I really try to do that a whole lot. But it does remind me of a few double IPAs that I've had. Some local ones that kind of have the same kind of thing. This is a heavy IPA, but it's drinkable. And that's what a lot of people like. They want a beer they can drink easy and get banged up on. And, this is probably in that category, definitely.
Certainly.
Yeah, don't be afraid. This is a 9% beer that you could drink like a Miller Lite. Really, it really is,
It's awesome.
It's good.
Cool. All right.
So, that's Precious Pils. 1 down, 2 to go. We're going to obviously release all these episodes in succession. So, we're excited to go on to the next one. We don't want to spend too much time on these beers. We don't want to bore you with the Hobbit crap. But
you go to the theater for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pay your $10 and watch it. All right, cool. So the Hobbit, that's 1 down.
Yeah, 2 to go.
On to the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for drinking.
Thanks for drinking.